Welcome to the FitBiz Accelerator, your ultimate guide to launching, growing, and scaling a thriving online fitness business. I'm your host, Tobias Young, and whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, this podcast is packed with actionable tips, real-world strategies, and the insights you need to crush your business goals and build the business of your dreams. Now that you're here, let's dive in. Welcome back to the FitBiz Accelerator Podcast. I'm your host, Tobias Young, and today we have a powerful conversation lined up for every fitness coach, personal trainer, nutrition coach, and online coach in general who wants to become more than just a person who writes workouts and macros. Because here's the truth. Your clients are not robots. They're dealing with stress and kids and marriages and divorces and surgeries and grief and hormones and body changes and confidence struggles and seasons where just getting through the day feels like a win. And if you want to become a high-level coach, then you have to learn how to coach people through real life, not just when everything is going perfectly. That's why I'm excited for today's guest, Sonia Ryan. And Sonia's a certified personal trainer, a certified nutrition coach, a fitness concierge, and a mom of four. And her passion for fitness started after her third child was born when she went through her own personal transformation. And that journey led her into fitness competitions and posing coaching and personal training and nutrition coaching, and now helping others feel strong and confident and in control of their health. But Sonia's story goes so much deeper than just fitness. She's walked through a challenging divorce, starting over after selling her home of 27 years, the heartbreaking loss of her younger brother, and now preparing for surgery this June. And through all of it, she has kept showing up. By the way, I'm going to surgery in June too. That's what makes this conversation so important, because Sonia understands something a lot of coaches miss. Fitness is not about perfect conditions. Fitness is about adaptability and consistency and helping others keep moving forward even when life starts feeling heavy. So today, we're going to talk about coaching through chaos, emotional intelligence in coaching, and helping clients avoid that all or nothing trap, and why you're never too old to start working towards the best version of yourself. Sonia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, excited to have you. And before we dive into the coaching side, I'd love for you just really quickly to share your story. You're a mom of four, and your fitness journey really started after your third child was born. So what was going on in your life at that time, and what made you decide it was time to start taking care of yourself in a different way?
Well, first off, I used to be a social smoker. I was kind of like skinny fat, I guess. You know, when I got married, I was like under 100 pounds. And then I got pregnant with my first and ballooned. I ate everything under the sun and slept. And I had nobody at the time to tell me otherwise. So I kind of just kept telling myself, like, maybe this is what the baby needs. And it wasn't until like a month before he was born, the doctor was like, you might want to slow down on the weight.
Yeah.
Being a mother, it was always been super important for me to lead by example. I was like, if this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do. Unfortunately, my son, when he was born, he was very, very sick. You know, I didn't get the chance to focus on, getting my baby body back or anything like that. And 9 months later, I was pregnant with my second. So, I didn't really get to start working on myself until after my third. And I was a young mom. So at this point, I was now 30 years old. And I knew something had to change, and I knew I wanted to lead by example for my kids. I myself watched my mother put everybody before herself, and it made me sad. I didn't get to grow up and participate in sports because I'm one of 11 children. So there was that factor as well. So I felt in my right that I wanted to show my kids a different kind of mom. And so I began running, and then eventually I joined a gym. I started doing group fitness. And within a year, I looked better than when I was just getting married.
Wow.
And then I guess I looked so good, I got pregnant with my fourth.
That's the downfall of looking good.
And I remember feeling like almost defeated. Like, I worked so hard. Oh my God, am I going to be able to do it again? And with my fourth pregnancy, ironically, I worked out my entire pregnancy. And she was born 6 weeks early. And the recovery, first of all, was unbelievable. Like, I bounced back. And if I had known that with all my other kids, I would have certainly, if I could redo, I would have done it that way. Nonetheless, in speaking about my defeat and getting pregnant with, my fourth, my sister-in-law at the time was competing for her first time ever. She did a one and done. She didn't really like the stage experience, but she was like, hey, maybe you would like to do this. And I inquired and I looked into it. And after my fourth child was born, I stepped on stage. And it was live on ESPN, like through the web or whatever. But yeah, it was a big show, and that's where it all started.
That's amazing. Yeah, I remember, man, I competed as well for 16 years. And I remember it just being kind of like a thing that I wanted to, check off my bucket list. And then it just became like, man, I want to improve and I want to improve. And I competed for 16 years and I ended up turning pro and did some cool things. So like you, after having 4 kids, Sonia, my gosh, that is fantastic. And so many people think this. They think they need the perfect moment to start. They need more time. They need more motivation. They need less stress. But for a lot of people, the transformation starts in the middle of a messy season. So what did fitness give you during that time? More confidence, control, identity, a place to put your energy?
It gave me all of those things. It made me actually feel better about not only as a mom, a wife. I just felt better overall. And I have a really sweet story that after I had my last daughter, older daughter, she was 6 years old at the time. And for Christmas, she actually drew a picture of me on a card. And her gift to me that Christmas was she wanted me to go back to the gym. So at just 6 years old, my children also recognized that I was just a happier person. And that was like the moment that I was like, okay. And that's when I just was like, I'm going to just raise the bar, because why not?
Yeah, that's great. And, eventually that personal transformation, obviously it turned into your competitions, and it also turned into posing coaching. It turned into personal training and nutrition coaching. So how did you go from doing this for yourself to wanting to help other people? And was there a moment when you realized like, this is more than just a personal passion?
You know what? Yeah, I once I started connecting with people, a lot of them were going through the same issues that I was at the time. And, for some reason, I was trying to understand how I had so much strength and purpose, and the people that I was coming into contact didn't. And something about making people help them in some sort of way and just tell them it's going to be okay. We're going to just baby step this if we have to. And I think the relatability of, I wasn't just some young person. I had children. I'm navigating through this every day. My kids get sick. Like, how do I make it work? And I just kept telling all these clients that I was working with, it's just about believing that you can and you will, and just take each day as it comes and, make it a lifestyle, really. Like, this isn't just, we're going to start here and end here. We're just going to grow and we're going to get better and we're going to get better. And that's all that I wanted for anybody that I work with.
I love that, because there is no finish line. That's one of the best slogans I've ever heard. And one of the things I really want to dig into today is the idea of coaching through chaos, because a lot of trainers are great when life is normal. They can write the plan, they can prescribe the workouts, they can give the macros. But when a client's life starts falling apart, they don't always know what to do. They either push harder or they pull back completely, but there's not like a middle ground. So when you say coaching through chaos, what does that mean to you?
So it's just like having the understanding of like, okay, I've got all these things coming at me. What can I focus on? If I can't tackle, like, and for us coaches, like, right, it's training, it's sleep, it's nutrition. Sometimes in these overwhelming moments, it's just like making your clients understand that sometimes it's okay to take a break from the gym, but we can still keep the focus on our stress management, our sleep, our nutrition, right? Just because we can't go to the gym and unwork all the chaos, there's other things that we can kind of keep the focus on without it being so overwhelming.
Yeah. And that's such an important distinction, because coaching someone through a hard season doesn't always mean telling them to go harder. Sometimes it means just like helping them simplify things. Sometimes it means adjusting their plan. Sometimes it means helping them win the smallest possible version of consistency. And you talk about helping clients focus on minimum effective habits instead of falling into like an all or nothing mindset. What are some examples of minimum effective habits that you might give to a client who's going through emotional stress, grief, divorce, surgery, or major life transformation?
So the focus I would probably, start with would be just like minimize, just like what can we get rid of? What can we focus? What's important to you in this moment? What do you feel like you need the best, or what do you think that you can adhere to? So for some people, it's making the workouts a non-negotiable, or maybe taking time away from the gym or shortening the workouts would be more beneficial. And taking more time to kind of like focus on the food prep, or going to bed a little bit earlier. Even if you can't come in for that hour, what can you do? Can you go for a 10-minute walk? Can you, maybe do a half hour instead of an hour? Instead of coming in 4 times a week, maybe just bring it down to 2 and go for walks outside after you eat dinner.
There you go.
And getting to bed earlier, because those are all wins in itself as well. Just because we can't hit all 3, just focus on what we can do. Even if it's just like getting better sleep.
Yeah, that's big, because real consistency is not doing the same thing at the same intensity all the time. Real consistency is being able to adjust without quitting. So how do you help clients kind of shift out of that all or nothing mindset, especially when they feel like if they can't be perfect, they've already failed?
It's just reminding them of the wins and what we're working towards, and this process does take time. And over time, if we just stay consistent, if we remove the stress factors and not stress about like the scale not moving, for instance, we have a lot of that going on. It's just reminding them, like, just because the scale isn't moving, there's other things that could be happening. You're building muscle. Some muscle weighs more than fat. Sometimes, everyone gets so fixated on the overall weight and they don't understand, am I losing body fat? Am I building more muscle? Am I getting stronger? Do I feel stronger? Making them aware of those kinds of things also helps.
Yeah. And this is where I think emotional intelligence becomes such a part of coaching, because sometimes a client struggle has nothing to do with discipline. They're not always lazy or unmotivated. They may be grieving, or they might be overwhelmed, and they may be dealing with hormone or pain or inflammation or divorce, or a season of life that is emotionally heavy. So as coaches, how do we get better at recognizing when a clients need more than just another accountability message?
That's just it's just paying attention, being in the moment with them, watching them as they do it, hearing about their lives, trying to keep the conversations. Yes, they end up talking to us a lot, which is fine, but it's establishing a personal relationship and understanding their life and reminding them, hey, you know what? You slept like shit last night. It's okay if you can't squeeze out 20 reps right now. Do your best. Pause when you need it. Forgive yourself, and we're just going to go through this.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Just remind them. I always tell them too, like, just because today you have to do 3 reps, take a rest, 3 reps, take a rest. Who's to say tomorrow you can't crank out all 20?
Yeah. That's true. Sometimes we have different energy levels and we feel good, and
things
got
happen,
sleep and we ate, and other times it's tough. Yeah. And there's a big difference between holding someone accountable and making someone feel guilty. A high level coach knows how to challenge someone while still making them feel seen and supported. So how do you communicate with a client during sensitive seasons without overstepping boundaries? For example, if someone is going through divorce or loss or surgery or a major body change, how do you support them without trying to become their therapist?
So just having a plan in place that we can kind of just stay focused on, that's almost repetitive in a manner that they can actually see the strength gains, or they can actually feel the movements getting stronger without getting into so much conversation. Being mindful, like, we're here to get you stronger. This is going to help you get through. Just reminding them, like, why they're doing what they're doing. Difficult situation or not, you're here, you showed up, you're going to show up because this is going to help. This is going to help in the long run.
Yeah.
You're going to feel better when you leave here. You're going to have a clearer head. You're going to be able to process the chaos in a much stronger, more positive attitude. So let's just do our best, get through it. You showed up, you're here. Let's get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an important line. Fitness coaches can be incredibly valuable during those seasons too, because we have to understand our role, and we can support, and we can listen, and we can adjust the plan, and we can encourage healthy habits. But we also need to know when something is outside of our scope. So how do you personally balance like the empathy part with boundaries inside of your coaching?
Well, that's been a tough one for me personally, but I am making improvements on that topic as well. And sometimes just when you recognize it's out of your scope, you can offer certain suggestions like, hey, listen, maybe we're just not the right match. Maybe you need to focus more on just coming to the gym more regularly because you're not able to put the effort in that's required of my time. If you're showing up late, you're emotionally just unavailable. What
Yeah.
can we do in the interim? Like just hey, it's okay to just say, I don't need to train right now. I just need to be mindless and go do cardio and just do whatever and then come back. But sometimes when you put it to them in that way, they take a moment and they pause and they're like, oh, wow, like they don't even recognize like what's happening because the situation could be so stressful. But when
Yeah.
you kind of like, give them a moment to think about like, why are you here? And if you can't be here, then you're just wasting your time. You're wasting my time. And what can you do on your own, to
Yeah.
get you to the other side?
Yeah, good. And I think it's such an underrated skill for a lot of, us fitness professionals, right? A
It's
lot of
hard.
coaches, yeah, we focus on programming and macros and content creation, which are obviously important, but learning how to read the room emotionally, learning how to meet people where they're at, and learning how to adapt a plan based on real life. That's what builds trust and creates retention. Have you seen that in your own coaching where being more emotionally aware has helped you actually build stronger relationships with your clients?
100%. Seeing them and have an understanding of like what we're doing together. Like my goal for all my clients is to eventually get them to a point where they don't need me. And I really firmly 100% stand by that. And it's fine that you do need me. And it's okay. Some people just need a little bit more accountability, but my ultimate goal for all of my clients is to get to a place where they can't live without it. They feel so good that they cannot live without it. Like they're at the point where they're going on vacation and they're seeing if the hotel has a gym. Like that
Yeah,
is my
that
ultimate
feels good.
goal for all of my clients. And I firmly believe that. And that's how I've been since day one. And I'm going to be like that to the end.
I love it when they get to that stage and they're already like, they go to a new restaurant and they're already looking like, hey, do you have a light menu or hey, what are
Right.
some healthy options? And let's talk about your own personal experiences because you've gone from competitor to coach and you've experienced body changes and major life changes. And now you're preparing for surgery. So how have those experiences been able to change the way that you coach?
Well, again, it comes down to like relatability
Hmm.
and just being more open. And this is yet another life thing that people experience. And I've been kind of like just an open book with it all. Like these are what my struggles are right now. This is what my plan is. I'm going to do everything I can to stay healthy, stay strong, and hope that my the recovery will be better. So it's, my goal is to just kind of remove the scariness of it all
Yeah.
because people go through these big things. And if they don't have the background of eating right and training, it can go either way. You can go into this depressive, place of God knows, there's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just trying to just be real with everybody.
Yeah.
I have my struggles. I'm human. Hormonally, I've put on a little bit of weight. And again, it's one of those things that coaches need to know about, like these things that recognize in their clients if they're going through something so stressful, like we were talking about before.
Yeah.
You can do everything right, but if you can't manage that, you're not going to make it anywhere. So it's
Yeah.
about getting them to recognize, hey, what can I do to kind of lessen what's going on? And that's what I'm trying to show and what I'm dealing with and hope that I can help other women. Yes, I have, lately, past couple of days, I was in so much pain. Like I missed my workout. And instead of feeling frustrated, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to make sure that I get 8 hours sleep. I'm going to make sure that I get all my food in and tomorrow's another day.
Yeah. And I think that's important to be able to share your personal experiences and your struggles because life isn't always perfect. And, some trainers portray their lives as like everything is always perfect, but
No,
it's like
no.
being open. And I think it's a
Right.
great lesson for coaches that are listening. Your story can become part of your brand, not in a way where you overshare everything, but in a way where people actually understand what you stand for and what your experiences are and how you can relate to the audience better. And for you, Sonia, it sounds like one of your strongest messages is, also, hey, you're never too old, or, life is never too messy to start becoming the best version of yourself. Tell me more about that.
And things happen out of our control, like out of nowhere. You're faced with things like, with my brother's loss last year. It's not even a year. We're coming up on the year, but I took time off of training and signed up for a half marathon. I'm not a runner, but I was like, again, my message to people, to everybody that I coach, we can't control life.
Yeah.
But if we focus on the things that we can control, like, our overall health and well-being, like it's only going to make our mental health a little bit better as far as even processing things like loss, for example.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, who lost her husband, my brother, has 3 small children, and she sends me videos almost weekly of her working out with the kids watching. This is how she's choosing to grieve and stay strong, because she has no choice. She's a widow. She's 32 years old with a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And she works as an ultrasound tech Wednesday, Thursday, Friday nights. But her dedication to weight training and keeping herself strong has been a choice that she's chosen for herself. Yeah. So that's pretty powerful, and you never know. I think, like, I try to tell my clients, like, you never know how much you can inspire someone. So whenever you feel like you're incapable or you're having a bad week, stop and think about the possibility of who around you could be inspiring.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And fitness is not just about the physical result. It's about identity, and it's about confidence, and it's about feeling like you still have control over your life. It's about proving to yourself, I can still do hard things. So what do you see happen emotionally when someone starts taking care of themselves again?
Oh my God, just excitement, feeling great. Like, I just had a client this morning. She said to me, she's like, I think I'm addicted. She was sick for a couple of days. She missed out. But again, when I talked to her, I was like, what can we focus on? Yeah. And I know that you're missing coming in here. She took the time, guilt-free, came in and was like, I'm so glad that I listened to you. I'm ready to come in today and just give it my all. And it's only been a short period of time.
So cool. Yeah, I love that. And I want to shift into something too that I think can really help coaches listening. You're slowly building your online nutrition coaching business. And a lot of our audience is either building one, they're transitioning online, or they're trying to make their online coaching something, their offers, to stand out. And based on your story and your experience and the way you coach, what do you feel is becoming your unique lane in the online space?
Well, again, it's slowly growing. I feel like this is one of the areas that I think most people actually need more help in, if I'm going to be honest. And for some reason, it's very difficult for people to, want to think about that avenue. I've had to start really, really small because it seems overwhelming to the vast majority of people. They don't want to weigh themselves. They don't want to, there's like a stigma related to learning, actually, because you're really just learning, right? And I try to present it that way. Like, you're learning about what works for your body. You're not following some cookie cutter diet plan, detox. I'm not going to just tell you eat this, and this. You're actually learning what works for you in this process. And, it's been a struggle of mine to continue growing because people will start and then they get very overwhelmed. It's not a priority because food is comfort, right? And so it's been difficult for me to try to grow this. And I'm trying to think of other ways, how can I streamline this? How can I make it better? But in my opinion, I could write out a meal plan and copy and paste. And yes, people can get results, but I know through my experience that type of stuff is not consistent. You can't adhere to it long term. You get fed up and then you end up doing this yo-yo cycling. So I'm still in, the beginning stages of trying to figure out what is going to work. And gotcha. I'm starting to just have people just focus on the protein to make it easy. Yeah. So again, in the coaching standpoint of simplifying it, right? Making it start here, not maybe not be so overwhelming. All right, we don't have to weigh ourselves every day, but let's just hit our protein and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And so I
Simpler is
feel
better.
like that's been kind of like helping a lot, just like making it less intense and just starting small. Because for some reason, nutrition, everybody's either jumping on the bandwagon to get on a GLP, or, they're doing some crazy diet that they saw on Instagram.
Yeah, I agree. It's crazy. And that's a great lesson in simplification, because when I first started going online, this was a long time. This is going to date me, you guys. I've been doing the online game for 17 years. But when I first started training clients online, I tried to prove to them how much I know, and I tried to give them as much information as possible. And information is not implementation, team. It's easier to implement a simplified strategy than a more robust, where they got to read a million pages and you're thinking, oh my God, I got so much great information that they can have. They don't want to read a freaking novel. They don't want to read a 120-page ebook. They want like, hey, just help me lose the weight. Give me the simplest and easiest way to be able to do it where it fits in my lifestyle.
It's be done. Yeah. I want that dress on in 8 weeks.
Yes, they want it fast too. But what I would tell you too, and any coach listening, is that your story gives you authority. And it's not just your certifications and not just your competition experience and not just your knowledge. Your lived experience matters. When you combine education, empathy, and personal perspective, that's powerful. That's what separates a coach from someone who hands out, plans. And when a client is dealing with stress and hormonal imbalance and pain and inflammation, or preparing for recovery, what adjustments should a coach consider? Not medical advice, of course, but from a coaching perspective. How do you think about modifying training and nutrition when somebody's body is under more stress than usual?
Well, I mean, again, it just comes to simplifying it, right? Like, we can knock the workouts in half, during this phase, whatever's going on. And same thing with the nutrition. Paying attention to hunger cues, like drink some water, like go for a walk, distract yourself, journal. If you find like you're eating too much, or keep the focus just on protein. A lot of people want this very rigid, am I allowed to drink alcohol? Like, should I avoid carbs? Like,
yeah,
which is always the case. Or, what do you think about keto? What do you think about this?
Every time.
It all comes down to, what do you think is going to work for you? What is going to be the most sustainable for you? Simplifying it, making it simple. Start here. If you can accomplish this for a couple of weeks, then you're ready for the next step. And it's reminding people it's never a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's never a quick fix. We're always going to be learning. Our bodies are always going to be changing. We age, after a given amount of time. I mean, I'd like to think that I'm still lifting the same amount of weight as I was 5 years ago. I'm pretty close, but it's just about training smarter and understanding and really paying attention to your body.
I agree 100%. Sometimes the best plan is not the most intense plan. Sometimes the best plan is the one the client can actually follow in that season. That is a sign of maturity as a coach. And early on, a lot of coaches want to prove how hard their workouts are, but experienced coaches understand that the goal is the results, not exhaustion. How do you decide when to push a client? And then
I pay attention to their bodies, their cues. Like, I watch them. Oftentimes I'll do it with them side by side, but I'm really like in tune with what's going on. And sometimes if they're overwhelmed or stuff is going on, sometimes I'll even recommend, hey, do the same workout, but lessen the weights, drop the weights.
Yeah. Slow it down.
Knock off a few moves.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Yes. The most important thing we're establishing, and should always be the same, is consistency.
Good. And the coaches listening, this can change the way your clients experience your coaching. Sometimes the most powerful question is not like, did you hit your macros? Sometimes it's, how are you feeling emotionally this week? What felt heavy this week? And what's one habit that we can keep consistent, even if the week is not perfect? Right. What do you need from me right now? Is it more support, structure, or just a little extra push? Right. Those kinds of questions create trust, and trust creates transformation. And Sonia, what do you wish more fitness coaches understood about the emotional side?
Well, again, it's just paying attention, to what's going on with your client, just being in the moment with them, and being able to like look at them as they walk in and be able to be like, hey, what's up? You look like you're dragging today. You look like you don't have energy. And to be quite honest, I've actually told some clients to go home because they weren't even going to benefit from training with me that day.
Yeah.
And I've had to do that with some of my clients. Some of my clients have just got jobs for the first time working as a NICU nurse in the hospital and working nights. And they're just not able to adjust to that time, right? They're not used to sleeping during the day and working all night. Like they're trying to figure out how to eat, how to adapt. And they're trying to like focus on, well, you know what? While I went to school, I put on all this weight. I want to get all this weight off. And now I have this new job. And that's a lot of load right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if they walk in and they just worked an overnight shift and they're trying to get a lift on and I'm looking at them, I'm completely honest. And I'm like, hey, you know what? You are not going to benefit. Go home and get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow.
Especially when they come in looking cross-eyed at you and you're just like falling off. And I'll add this too. If you want to stand out in the online fitness space, don't just be the coach with the best workout plan. Be the coach who understands your clients better than anyone else. Understand their real life. Understand their fears and their roadblocks and their emotional triggers and what their schedule is like and their responsibilities and their identity. That's where your marketing also gets better. Your coaching gets better. Your retention gets better. Your referrals get better because people don't just want information. They want to feel guided. They want to feel supported. They want to feel like this person knows how to help someone like me. And Sonia, before we go into rapid fire, I have one final big question. Mm-hmm. After everything you've walked through with motherhood and competition and coaching and divorce and loss and starting over and now surgery, what does becoming the best version of yourself mean to you today?
I mean, it's just kind of like a bittersweet moment to kind of like look back and look at all the challenges, especially now as I'm facing surgery, to kind of think about everything that fitness has helped me get through. And, it's helped me kind of turn this negative situation because I've been avoiding this surgery for 14 years. When I first found out that I was supposed to have it, I was like, but I'm competing. I can't have scars on my belly. But now I'm at a point where I have no choice and thinking, I'm just going to go into this and just continue what I've always done and just lead by example and believe that I can come out of this better than I did before because I have before. I've done this.
I know you will. All right, let's jump into some rapid fire questions. And these are just super fast. First answer that comes to mind. Okay. What is one habit you believe almost everyone should focus on first?
Making themselves a priority.
What is one thing fitness taught you about life?
Patience.
What is one mistake you see people make when life gets stressful?
They avoid everything they committed to.
What's one thing you wish more women understood about getting older?
Muscle is so important. Being strong is so important.
Yeah. What's one coaching skill that you think is underrated?
Accountability.
What's one word you would describe this next chapter of your life?
What's one word? Amazing.
Ah, yes. And what's one message you would give to the person who feels like they're starting over?
Keep going.
I love it. Sonia, this has been such a powerful conversation. I really appreciate you sharing your expertise and your story. So many people need to hear this. Fitness is not about waiting for the perfect conditions. It's not about being flawless. It's not about doing everything at 100% all the time. It's about learning how to show up. It's about adjusting when life changes. It's about building strength physically and mentally and emotionally. And for the coaches listening, this is such an important reminder. Your clients need more than just workouts. They need leadership. They need empathy. They need structure. They need someone who can help them move forward even when life feels heavy. That is what separates a good trainer from a transformational type of coach. Sonia, where can people connect with you or learn more about what you're doing or follow along with your journey?
You can follow me on Instagram _FitFrenchie74. And I work at Drop Fitness in Montvale, New Jersey.
Awesome. And Sonia, thank you again for being here. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to the FitBiz Accelerator Podcast. If you got value from this episode, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another coach who needs to hear this message. And remember, you don't need perfect conditions to keep moving forward. You just need the right support, the right mindset, and the willingness to take the next step. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to the FitBiz Accelerator. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a tip or strategy to grow your online fitness business. And if you're ready to fast track your success, don't forget to check out tntfitprocoaching.com. Until next time, stay consistent, stay focused, and keep crushing it.